Gonna go for two here.
He's going for two.
If you don't make this, you lose. If you make it, you're in a position to win.
Got him! One-handed catch as he goes up and gets it. That's just a heck of a play.
Gonna go for two here. Go for two here.
Got him! One-handed catch as he goes up and gets it.
Gonna go for two here. Go for two here. If you don't make this, you lose. If you make it, you're in a position to win. Gonna go for two here. Go for two here.
Got him! One-handed catch as he goes up and gets it.
Go for two here. If you don't make this, you lose. If you make it, you're in a position to win.
All right. Well, welcome in. We're doing things a little bit differently tonight. We've got Shane is in, but he's what most people would call recovering from a 9-hole match with our boy Steve. And we've got a guest welcome in, right? We got James. Welcome in, James. Yeah. Special night for you, right? Kickoff night for you, finally. Week 1. We get the Raiders playing the Ravens. How excited are you?
Oh, I'm excited, man. I'm excited just for football to be back in general, let alone having the Monday night. Fans are back in the stadium. Like, big game. It's a big game. Week 1 game. That's a big game.
Yeah.
Against the Ravens.
And Jay, this is like a reunion for you, eh? Because last year, first Monday night, it was me, you, and Chad.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
Special.
Yeah.
What was the turnout of that game?
That was the Steelers beating the
A
Giants.
lot of beers were drank. That's what I'll tell you that much. It was beer o'clock that night.
We beat the Saints week 1 last year, so that was a big game for us too.
Yeah. Well, I did share your excitement for the start of the season. I mean, I'm sure as both my colleagues did too. I mean, they had a better ending to their Sunday than I did. But let's just jump right into it, guys. We had a couple of games where there were some certain disappointments. Shane's going to let me wear this one this weekend, and I think that's the only reason he may be on the show. I know that it's because the Steelers won too, but certainly because the Titans lost their home opener week 1. Shane, let me have it.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. For some reason, they decided to cover Julio Jones, which I know is kind of wild for you to imagine that a team would notice that you actually traded for a guy like that. But yeah, they schemed him up. They had Derrick Henry stopped. Your new offensive coordinator is a piece of shit. And I think that you should be concerned for the rest of your year.
Okay.
I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah,
Also-
thank you.
Your defensive coordinator is a piece of trash. And Mike Vrabel might have just got COVID again.
Oh, jeez. So, Chad, what do you think happened yesterday? Did you watch the game? Did you get a chance?
I think Arizona is better than we thought. That's the first thing. I also said this a lot last year and ate those words. So I got to just ride with them at this point. But yeah, no, the one big thing I noticed was how much better J.J. Watt made that defensive line.
Yeah.
I thought he was on the tail end of his career, which he definitely is, but he's still a massive presence. And he made things very uncomfortable in that backfield, whether it was the run game or the pass game. And I don't care who you are and how good you are, when you can pressure on the quarterback all day long, it's going to be a huge difference. And Isaiah Simmons, he just played lights out as well, which I think they're kind of finding a role for him now. They had a tough time last year with him not knowing how to use him properly.
And I think Chandler Jones had 5 sacks, man.
Yeah, and that's okay. So, and that's just it. I mean, talking about how Julio got covered and stuff like that, Tannehill didn't have the time. Like, it was hut sack, and that was on both sides. There was the right tackle who ended up getting swapped out. It was Taylor Lewan who ended up getting swapped out. He had an injury, but I mean, the guy is obviously not in game shape. He got embarrassed. He said it. He tweeted it out after the game. He got his ass kicked. He embarrassed the team. He embarrassed the fans. It's not what anybody showed up to the game for. But at the same time, you mentioned J.J. Watt as a guy who's very familiar with J.J., the guy who obviously played on the Texans for a long time. He's had heydays against the Titans. His best games have been against the Titans. They went on for 3 minutes before the game about how good he is against the Titans and how excited he was to have his kickoff game against the Titans. So I'm willing to say hold back a little bit because we fell apart yesterday offensively to see where J.J. Watt actually is because, again, he does really well against us all the time. Let's see what he does for the rest of the season. But Chandler Jones, he made a statement, pay me, right? Give me my money. I've been asking for it now. It clearly deserves it. I mean, it wasn't just that he outplayed Taylor Lewan. He bull rushed 2 people at one time, multiple times. He was really, really at his top of his game. And what is he, like 32, 33 still playing like that? It's just crazy, right?
The guy's a freak athlete, right?
Yeah, and Julio let me down. I mean, 3 drop passes. One of them was in the end zone that ended up being an interception. And then on that second drive there, when he got the 15-yard penalty for unsportsmanlike conduct, which I think was incredibly ticky-tack. They could have been offsetting there, and that's not me being a homer. There's more than one person have said that, but that really killed us. That set us back significantly after that play. So that really let me down. And then speaking of letting us down, or letting people down, we can go over to Green Bay, guys. What'd you think about that game? We had Jameis came in, and holy shit, did he just need somebody like Peyton?
I think he can see.
It was the LASIK? Is that what it is? It had nothing to do with Peyton? So, yeah, I mean, like you got Aaron Rodgers sitting on the sideline smirking after. I mean, after throwing those picks, you've got these rumors that now he's out there to sabotage Green Bay. What do you think, guys?
Yeah. What it comes down to is, like, you're seeing what chemistry means to football. I mean, if you have a quarterback that wasn't all the way in training camp, you have a receiver like Adams who wasn't all the way in. They just lost Jamal Williams. It's maybe a little bit of a bigger deal than they thought.
Yeah.
Bakhtiari, obviously a bigger deal than they thought. They don't have the chemistry. Pat LaFleur or whatever his name, he's not the leader that they need him to be. And Green Bay fans might be in for a long year.
Yeah.
Luckily, they play in the NFC North, so that's going to help them out a lot.
Yeah. I mean, that the NFC North at this point feels like it's the NFC East of last year.
They might be worse.
Ooh.
If the Packers can't win, they could definitely be worse.
Oh, yeah. Like, I think the Packers played embarrassingly bad, but I don't want to take away from the fact that, like, the Saints played extremely well, like, on both sides of the ball. Like, even when Rodgers didn't have much time on most of those throws, but even when he had the time, like, there was nowhere to throw it.
And so, okay, so that's my question. Where does the strength lie in this Saints team? Is it their offense, which historically has been the case, been able to live off of how many points they can put on the board? Or has their defense caught up again now where they're the strength of that team? Now, losing Marshall Lattimore is going to be huge. Amazing he got paid, and then he goes out for surgery. I don't know how long he's going to be. I don't know if you guys saw or not how long he'll be out for. But is that the strength out? Is that where the team comes from now?
Yeah, I don't think Lattimore misses a game. I think that he can't jerk off anymore because he can't grip it anymore because his thumb's fucked up. But, like, I don't think he misses a game.
And I'm actually a lot more concerned with the Saints after watching that performance. I thought we were gonna cakewalk the South, and I was like, "Oh, this would be a." I saw the Saints play. I'm like, "Oh, that's a pretty good Green Bay team that didn't lose a lot of pieces. Obviously, they have a couple guys injured right now, but to come out and win the way they did, that's not just the team being bad. That's a really good football team too. So that's kind of, as a Bucs fan, it's like, okay, we got some competition. Like, the Falcons suck. Sorry, Nick, they're horrible. 28-3. Don't ever forget. That's what favorite thing to send to them.
Yeah.
And I think they just lost to the Eagles, which most people thought weren't going to be very good.
We have to make a lot on here.
Yeah. And the Panthers won. They beat the Jets, though. But it was a pretty impressive day for the NFC South. But now that Saints team definitely worries me a lot more than what I thought they were going to. And if Jameis can throw the ball, as much as I hate that fucking loser, it could be a long year for a lot of teams.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and he still only threw for 150 yards, right? Like, let's see what happens when Jameis becomes Jameis and is thrown for 250, 300 yards, and he's got more opportunities, right? He was put in good spots. Yeah. Oh, yeah. 5 touchdowns was amazing opening weekend.
But he throws a lot of red zone turnovers, So
for anybody that thinks that Chad's being a homer because he was a Jameis Winston guy, like, first of all, he hates Jameis Winston. And second, Chad and I were sitting there on Sunday at 11 o'clock at my bar. We might have been drinking coffee. We might have been drinking beer. One or the other. You make the decision. But he told me that Jameis Winston is going to be over 37.5 touchdowns this year. And I was like, yo, this guy's fucked. Like, I'm glad he didn't get that bet because that's such a waste of money. But, like, after week 1, that feels like a pretty good bet, Chad. Like, I don't know if you actually got to lay it down, but, like, that feels like
I couldn't find it anywhere, but, like, I thought that was, like, a proper number. He was a 30 guy when he couldn't see. Pardon me?
I was going to say, why? Did you think it was because the Saints were going to be playing from behind all the time and he was going to have to throw for 40 touchdowns? Or do you think that he was actually going to have a good year?
He threw a lot of touchdowns in Tampa Bay. He just turned the ball over a lot. So now he's
it's 1 for 1.
And you got to remember, the first 4 years that he was in Tampa, he did not have an offensive-minded coach. He didn't have a real quarterback-friendly offense to play in. And he had Bruce Arians who just, like, literally throw the ball everywhere. Man,
Still not a
I'm
very
huge-
quarterback friendly offense either, right?
No,
Very
it's not.
difficult.
And I'm a huge fan of Bruce Arians, and every quarterback's always said that the first year in their offense is actually the year in their career they've had the most turnovers because they try to learn Bruce Arians' offense. So him throwing 30 picks that year with Bruce, yeah, it makes sense because every time a new quarterback came in the system, they were throwing. I think Carson Palmer threw the least. I think it was like 17. So they make because they take shots. But Jameis had a great, like he still threw 30 touchdowns. Now you put in a quarterback friendly offense and a coach that understands the position. He's going to be in a situation to succeed.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised that our friends at Coolbet didn't put that out there because they don't just give away free money. But our friends at Coolbet, I'm going to give you the bet to take tonight, the one that I'm on, and that's I've been playing this football free bet, and I have a $15 free bet with Coolbet, and I put it all on the Raiders money line at plus 160 tonight. I think that the Raiders, first of all, it's their first time having fans in the building. The Ravens are a little bit on their heels with these injuries. I think that they got to figure out who their second corner is with Peters out. I'm not sure they're going to be able to do all that with the kind of crowd noise and whatever they have going on. I not only am predicting the Raiders to lose or the Ravens to lose tonight, but I think the Ravens are losing next week also against Kansas City. It's going to be a tough start for Baltimore, and I think that this is set up for the Raiders to not only cover the spread but to win straight up money line.
Man, I mean, I want James. You're gonna hate it. I pick you if you listen to the last show. I picked the Raiders to win this weekend, and that was before I saw Josh Jacobs was not playing. What the hell?
So he was downgraded to questionable. Last I heard, he's suiting up tonight.
Oh, okay.
So
I thought I read a few hours
this,
ago that he was out.
Yeah, I don't know
Is it
the
for the
snaps
DI?
he's going to take. They brought in Ragus off of our practice squad, so now they got four running backs on the roster tonight. So I think it's just going to kind of be put him in there, see how he's feeling, and see where he's at.
Well, and then there's another.
Kenyon Drake's he's good enough to carry the load, right?
He's going to eat tonight.
I feel like we mainly brought him in for like more as like popping out for the pass and just kind of pick up those odd runs where Jacobs would be our workhorse. But if Jacobs isn't getting the snacks, he's not getting the snaps. They'll have no option, right, but to turn to him. And he's also battling a toe injury, so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Kenyon, that's what he was brought into Arizona to do. It was to do that type of, and he ended up proving there that he could do more, right? He was much more than just a receiving back. He was able to go through the tackles. He was able to go outside the tackle. So, I mean, you got a great backup there. That's fantastic. And he's going to be good to play. But there's another surprise scratch that I was just reading right now. Cleveland Farrell.
Yeah.
He's scratched. What's going on there? So it's not like I'm surprised that we wait till week 1 to see something like this happening, right?
Yeah, so that was a surprise to me. I seen that hour ago when the injury report came out. So that was a little shocking. That also being said, he wasn't a starter, right? He lost his starting job to Crosby this year. So I know they've been working on moving him around a bit on the line and not necessarily just on the end. So I think his best bet is if he can become a solid guy kind of in the middle, he might get back into the starting line. But I was a little surprised myself just for depth reasons.
Yeah.
No idea why. I have no idea why I haven't seen that yet.
So is he a healthy scratch then? And that's what we're looking at?
Like I said, I don't know. I haven't seen that. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I just got tweeted out just saying it literally says healthy scratch. So interesting. He must have pissed somebody off or like it's just like I said, interesting that we don't see
for sure.
Well, I mean, none of them started. Did he even
wife.
play? Did he play in the preseason? I know Ricky told us that none of this. He did play. Okay.
Listen, we only had two people who are starting tonight, 2 players who are starting tonight that actually played at all in the preseason.
Wow.
None of them are.
Well, so based on the preseason thing. So go ahead, Kalen. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, like an hour before the game, it's like I'm surprised that they didn't try to work out a trade or something. But an hour before the game, it's going to be big news of a first-round pick like that, which I believe was his first. Was it Mayock's first-round pick or his second first-round pick?
No, I think it was his first. Yeah, because it was it was kind of a reach, but he went for the character, and the potential upside. We just haven't seen that yet. Like he's a great player. He's just not putting the numbers on the board that you want to see from a first rounder.
Totally.
Right, a guy that was drafted like 4th overall, right? Is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
this might be Gruden just swinging his weight around. We've talked about that in a few other shows, right? That Gruden might be the one actually pushing the weight around there. Mayock might just strictly be the scout, right? So,
you don't pay a guy $100 million. You know, and his opinion don't matter.
Bang on, yeah. I mean, Gruden's making the decision. Mayock's making the suggestions.
Yeah, he's doing the media calls.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. But yeah, Kalen, you were talking about the preseason, who played, who did this, but like, so let's talk about Josh Allen for a second, because I'm not going to say that he looked terrible. I'm not going to say that the Bills are a write-off, but is it the fact that he didn't play in the preseason, or is the Steelers defense that good?
Well, I mean, I watched that game, Shane, and there was a few times that he just missed open, deep shots, that he overthrew the ball quite a few times. Hey, wait, hey, don't.
But what I'm saying is it has to be one or the other. Like, he's either doesn't have his timing down or the Steelers defense is good.
Well, I'm just saying the timings probably wasn't down. I mean, that being said, he made a significant leap last year, and we've said that. But in accuracy and the way that he was throwing the ball, it was a very large trajectory that he was up on last year. There's probably going to be some sort of
what's his record when there's fans in the building? Not very good, player.
I feel like you know what it is.
Not very good, player. That's what I was telling you. Watch out. That guy cannot play in front of people. That's why he went to Wyoming or wherever the fuck he went to. He's chucking around watermelons. No one shows up for that show.
Just be happy you guys paid Watt.
Yeah.
He showed up, right?
Yeah. Hey.
Yo.
Right.
2.5 sacks, man. 2.5 sacks.
Yeah, 2.5 with the strip sack too, right? And let's talk about that game. That was a great game. I was really, really enjoying the first 3 or 2 quarters and a bit. And then the tables really started to turn quite quickly, didn't they, Shane?
Hey, why do you get such a boner when the Steelers aren't winning? It's really uncomfortable for me.
The thing
like,
is,
it makes me uncomfortable how hard you get when the Steelers aren't winning.
This is Shane's vacation, and the only reason he's on is 1, to make fun of me for the Titans losing, and 2, to probably rub in my face that the Steelers won. So
yeah, both of those things are factual. How did it feel to me? Look, I saw the way that the first half played out, and I was like, you know what? The defense is as good as I thought there'd be, if not better. The offense is a little bit worse than I thought, but I think that the Bills' front 7 stopped the run fairly well in the first half. The second half, it looks like they schemed up a little bit different. Roethlisberger, 18-year veteran, I'll give him the fucking ball every day, and he threw it around. He figured it out. Claypool made some plays. Johnson made some plays. Schuster made some plays. The boys were out there.
How nervous did you get when Johnson went down early in the game? Oh, I was nervous for you because I know you love that guy.
It's not a Steelers game if Deontay Johnson doesn't get hurt. Like, that dude, you'll watch in the first or second quarter of every single game that he's ever been in, something happens to him. He goes in the tent. I don't know if he's getting like a cortisone shot in his ass or what the fuck is happening, but something happens to him, and then he comes out and he's a lightning rod.
Yeah. And, Steelers football, you mentioned that, not a Steelers game. I know that he didn't have exactly like tremendous numbers, but your rookie, he played literally every snap the entire game. It's incredible, right?
And I'm happy about that. And, like Mikey T came out and said in the press conference, we don't show up to road games looking for style points. And 100%, we don't. Mike Tomlin doesn't have a fantasy team. He doesn't give a shit who does what. They just want to win games. And that's the kind of team that they ran.
It's just wonderful that you don't have to worry about pass protection. He proved that quite a few times yesterday, that pass pro isn't going to be a problem for him. I didn't think it would be, but you always have that question mark coming into the bigs, what it's going to be like for him, and he definitely showed up.
And look, they started 4 different linemen than they did the year previous. Only one of them is a lineman that actually has NFL experience in Trey Turner, and 2 rookies. One of them's a 4th-round pick. The other one's a 4th-round pick from a year ago. I mean, this is a team that they picked and they figured out. And I'm not sitting here telling you that the Steelers are the best team in the NFC or the AFC, but it is what it is, man. Like, look, they took down the Bills onto the Raiders. That's how it works.
Well, yeah. Chad, did you get a chance to see the game at all?
Yeah, I saw some of it after I came back from our game. I was actually really impressed with the way Pittsburgh's defense played. I was really thinking that Buffalo was going to hand it to them. I didn't tell Shane that in the morning, but
Yo, we were nice about it. Yeah, we were super cordial.
yeah, we were. I actually just thought Buffalo was going to have their way with them. Not because of the defense of Pittsburgh. I was just more about your offense.
Yeah.
And they kind of run through Ben. You guys didn't really have a running game last year. I know Najee came in, and that Bills defense is really good. So I was nervous. The fact that you guys could move the ball. I know Harris didn't have a huge game, but kind of like you said, he didn't come off the field, which is huge. That's one massive takeaway I took from it. And you never abandoned the run. And I don't care if you're winning or losing. The second you abandon it, you can put yourself in really deep holes. So even if he's not moving the ball, like I think he had like 17 carries for 45 yards, it showed that they still believed in him. And that was like the one big takeaway I took from it. They said you have a brand new O-line. You have a quarterback that's been there forever, who's always been known to play his way of football or nobody's way of football. And it's like they could be, if they can figure this thing out and keep it rolling, they will be a very dangerous team in the AFC because of how good that defense is.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Well, talking
and I feel
about
a lot better about my cool bet too. That over 8.5 wins, I feel a lot better about that today.
Yeah, that was a game that we we're supposed to win. So yeah, take that one.
Yeah, we're +1.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So talking about big letdowns and still believing, I still believe in another team that did have a big letdown this past weekend. And I know Shane's always going to hate on them. I don't know where Chad's at with them. I'd love to hear what James is saying. Cleveland Browns, guys. I said this would be a game that if they won, it could be trouble for them because that could be their Super Bowl, similar to what the Cowboys are facing with Tampa Bay. They end up getting up early and then blowing it. What are your thoughts? What did you take away from that game?
All right, so I'm going to go first just because you know how I feel. You know how I feel, okay. And then I'm going to let the boys have a conversation. But look, the Browns are exactly who I thought that they were.
Oh, you just screened it.
No,
yeah.
I'm not just pulling out the desk. But here's the thing. They got up because they want to play a game the way that they want to play the game. When they are pushed against the wall, they can't play a different game. They are all about physicality. They cannot finesse an offense. Their defense is not good enough to hang with a team like Kansas City or anybody that can score on that level. I think that a loss like that, this team is either going to be 5-12 or like 8-9, because it's really going to depend how they can rebound from something like that. I don't think that they're mentally tough enough to come back from a loss like that. And these guys had them on the ropes. Imagine fucking Mike Tyson has you on the ropes and is pummeling the shit out of you. And the ref's just like, nope, disqualification, you're out. Like there was nothing really significant that they did wrong other than that Chubb fumble, and it just got out of hand quick. I don't know how you could mentally prepare for it, and I don't know how you could recover from something like that.
Well, I mean, it's just Cleveland football when your star running back, Chubb, who is not known to be loose with the ball, puts it on the turf, right?
Right.
That was the beginning of the end for that team. But anyway,
let's catch James. Yeah, catch James.
Yeah.
This is another AFC rival. I want to know if I'm just being bitter.
So listen, straight up, do I wish Cleveland won that game? Yes, they're playing Kansas City. I'd love to see them 0-1 to start the year. But to kind of say like, they were up. Yeah, it's Kansas City. You know what I mean? Like they're never out. Like no matter what you do, like they are never out of the game. It's Kansas City, right? And it's not like they were down like 27 points. Like they're always in the game. It's Mahomes. I personally think Cleveland is a lot better team than you probably give them credit for. The fact that they came out the way they did, week 1 is always a question mark. The hype is there. The question is, where are we week 10, week 11, week 12, when everybody starts to tire down? But I don't know. I've been slowly pumping Cleveland's tires the last couple of years, and they've let me down every time. But I think they're a good team, and they could potentially, they're definitely a wild card team. I think in the AFC.
There you go. So like their ceiling is as a wild card team in the AFC.
So we got two that still believe, and one that never believed from the get go anyway. Chad, where are you at, buddy?
Oh, good. You didn't forget about me. I was like, we have two that still believe. You think there's shit. I was like, I'm never going to get to fucking speak. I'm still high on the Browns. When I say I'm high on the Browns, though, I'm saying 11 games. I think that's a realistic number for them. Baker's a really good quarterback. Unfortunately, he's not a great quarterback. They have a phenomenal run game, which down the stretch, I think is going to abuse teams, wear them down. What I think one of their biggest problems is they got into a shootout and they can't plan a shootout. If they would have just stuck to the game plan, beat them up, move the ball, play tough football, no one is beating Kansas City in a shootout. I don't care who you are. Tampa Bay, maybe, and I'm not saying that's a homer. I think they might be the only team that. But our defense won that game. It wasn't really a shootout. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I just don't think anybody can beat Kansas City shootout, and that's why you have to slow that game right down. Do not give Patrick Mahomes the ball. Do not let Tyreek run. Don't let Kelsey just sit in the middle. They have too many weapons. If you get you shut down one, the other one's going to eat. You have to kind of pick your poison. And me personally, I'm taking Tyreek and I'm making Travis Kelsey beat me. Yeah. And I think that's where a lot of teams fuck up. They think, stop Travis Kelsey and we'll take our chance on shots. Patrick Mahomes will take shots all fucking day.
Yeah.
And you're not going to stop the U.S. track team. That's what they are out there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think the Browns are a really good football team. But I do think it's an 11-win kind of thing. Like, they have a tough division. They have a tougher schedule. And I still think they're a couple years away. I don't think they're there yet. They don't have a real receiver. Jarvis Landry's a good receiver. Odell's past his prime.
We was even playing, right?
Yeah. And so you don't have anybody really helping Baker on the outside. So if the run game does get slowed down, what is he supposed to do?
Well, I mean, what I saw yesterday was 3 offensive linemen that were new for the Chiefs that were all kids that hadn't played in the NFL yet, I think was what I'd seen. And then you saw Clowney and Garrett, who first game of the season, incredibly explosive off the hop and very, very fast for 2 3/4 of a quarter. And then they slowed right down. And when they slowed down is when Mahomes was able to take over. They didn't have the juice. And I mean, they really just faded out. I think they really kind of got overconfident with the lead and always rushing at him. And eventually they started to learn misdirection was how you're going to take a player like Clowney out. And there was a couple of miraculous tackles that Clowney made behind the line. He even got a sack yesterday. I don't know if you saw that. Him and Garrett together.
Yeah.
Just pissed me off. So, all right. So, I mean, we touched on it. We still open up the show. We'll come back to this team now, and we're not going to mention who they beat. All right. But the Cardinals, guys, they're in a really, really tough division, right?
Who'd they beat?
James laughing over there. You knock it off.
Who'd they beat?
So, yeah, tough. They beat the Titans, Chad.
They beat the fuck out of them. They beat the fuck out of the Titans.
They walked, and you know what? It was funny. I told you guys, and AJ Green didn't do it, but I was trying to mention Christian Kirk when all you and Rick were going in on me about me mentioning the Cardinals trio of receivers because what I was trying to mention.
Liam's going to make you pass if you bring it up again.
But I don't. But honestly, Christian Kirk had a great game. Nuck, as usual, had a great game. AJ Green, he was actually stopped by Christian Fulton, which was actually nice to see. He had would have been a touchdown, got slapped out of his hands anyway. But the Cardinals, Simmons played great. Chad mentioned that, right? Their running backs actually knew how to run the ball really, really well too, which is surprising for an Arizona team, which was kind of strong for them to come on strong last year at the end of the year with Kenyon Drake doing it. So, what do you guys think? Can they make some noise? We've seen LA play now. Can they stand with LA?
No.
Yeah.
They can't stand with Seattle.
LA looked way too good.
Yeah, well, what about Seattle? And after their game with the Colts, I mean, they played a lot harder than I thought. I mean, the Colts didn't play as well as I thought they were going to by any means. But the Hawks played really, really well defensively. So can they stand with the Hawks?
I didn't see a lot of that Seahawks-Colts game because I was watching the Steelers and Bills. But when it comes down to it, I watched Sunday Night Football, and I'm just going to trust my eyes. The Rams are exactly what they are exactly what everyone thinks they are. They are on a collision course with Tampa Bay for the NFC Championship.
Yeah, now they got Stafford, they can throw deep balls, right? They're fantastic.
Man, that first bootleg he threw, when he went left and came back to his right, I was like, fuck. And then so Ashley's watching the game with me and she's not really paying attention. She's like, that looked really good. I was like, okay, so if you saw how good that was, I'm in fucking trouble.
Yeah,
that ball flew 70 yards in the air.
Yeah, and you know who else probably said that was our intern Josh, because I mean he never did that in Detroit. There was no bootleg offense in Detroit. I mean, maybe if every quarterback's gonna have a bootleg play here and there, but it was nothing like this. The Rams are gonna put on the field.
You got to have a half decent coach to scheme you up something like that.
Yeah.
That's something that has always eluded Detroit. Detroit's always had the talent; they've never had the coaching. Whereas other teams have always had the coaching and never had the talent.
I was actually shocked with how the way that Stafford could move.
Yeah.
Like that was my
He looked
biggest
young.
takeaway from it.
He looked young again.
Yeah, like the arm was always there, the toughness was always there, but I didn't realize he could move side to side the way that he could.
Mm-hmm.
And then having him in an offense that just gives him so many options and receivers at different levels of the field that can make plays.
Yeah.
Like that was a game changer. Like I am nervous as an NFC team if I have to deal with the Rams.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned game changer, and I do have to interject because there was a game changer that was given to me about a month ago from Shane. It's our partner from Shave My Balls. Shane, do you want to mention what Smooth My Balls? Do you want to mention what that's all about?
Well, our friends over at Smooth My Balls, they really do not like hedges, and they've paired up with us and given the no more hedges bet for the day. And I'm going to say that the no more hedges bet for the day is that the Raiders cover the 4.5 points with the Ravens, and there's no need to hedge that because our guys at Smooth My Balls don't want you to. They want no more hedges, and that's all. That's how it ends.
Well done, Shane. On the fly and recovering from 9 holes, as we mentioned earlier in the show, right?
Yeah.
It's not 36.
Yeah, no 36 this time. You know what? Like I had put the clubs away, and then Stevie P asked me to come play a round while we were waiting for our trip. So we're flying out to BC tomorrow, but
Nice.
today we decided to pop a couple holes in the pit. Let's just see what's up.
So, okay, so I know we'll touch quickly on the NFC West, then move on to the next topic because we didn't really finished that yet. So, what's their pecking order then? We got the Rams at number 1. Are the Hawks coming in at 2, or did we see enough out of the Niners to be number 2?
No.
No?
I think the Cardinals are number 2. I actually believe that.
I agree with Chad. I'm going to say the Cardinals, and then really, really quickly behind that, it's the Seahawks. Like, not by much, but like it's a close 2-3, right?
Yeah. Absolute shame.
49ers let the Lions back in, so.
Yeah. Like they,
Yeah,
I
mean,
they lost like how many points?
They were down. It was 33-17 with like just under a minute left. There's minute 56 left or something like that, and then they came back with just 2 touchdowns back. 2 goals.
I think the Lions covered spread there.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. It was brutal.
I'm going to say the Niners are something like the Texas Longhorns. They have all the talent and none of the fucking skill. Like none of the skill to win a game.
Oh, geez. Sorry, that was going to go later in the show, Shane. That was a few more segments down the road. But if you want to bring it up now, we certainly can. Yes, Texas let us down, and by us, I mean
hook 'em horns, right?
Oh my God, guys! Arkansas, like what the hell happened? And I don't know if you noticed today or saw it today or not, but they quarterback change 1 weekend, guys. Give him the hook.
Yeah,
he's out.
Well, hey, it's time for Casey Thompson, and what it comes down to is like. If Richard Nixon tells you to change fucking quarterbacks, you're going to change quarterbacks, man. That works.
Well, I mean, I'm excited for Casey Thompson. It's not like I don't think that we're going to lose anything, obviously, from what I saw in that game. I mean, is it too late? Probably is at this point. Not going to really matter. We're going to get a really nice, cool-looking bowl game like you mentioned earlier in a few shows ago.
Too late for what? I mean, you're in the Big 12. There's no chance of you being in the playoffs.
I was hoping we'd make a little bit of noise.
What's going to happen when you go to the SEC?
That's what I said.
You just found out.
Yeah. Well, you just got slapped up by a middle tier SEC team.
Yeah, but I mentioned that they got a 4-year pipeline to get there, and I think that there was a plan in place beforehand with the Sarkisian hire. He's very knowledgeable when it comes to that SEC pipeline. Let's see what happens when they're actually in there. Yeah. The first 2 years are going to be tough, guys. There's no doubt. Yeah. I'm going to be over here licking my wounds for a decade or so.
The way the Longhorns just got passed around, it looks like they're recruiting Riley Reed to be their next quarterback.
Oh, Lord.
She looks more like a receiver.
So it wasn't. Hey, listen, the Texas Longhorns were the only team that let people down, right? USC let some people down too, and they
just
laid the hammer today.
Yeah.
They had the hammer, right? They fired the coach pretty quick, right?
So at least they let him get off the plane this time.
Yeah. And then Ohio State too, losing to Oregon, right? And Shane, I know that you were asking questions about what the hell Oregon was about. So should we asking what Ohio was ranked so high about, or is Oregon real? You watched the game, I know you did.
Yeah. I mean, is Oregon real-ish? Like, is Ohio State as good as we thought they were? Not really. I mean, the thing is, like, when you watch any college football right now, there's Alabama, and then there's 50 feet of crap, and then there's everyone else. Like, there is no one else other than Alabama right now.
Yeah. Oh, you're right.
And you know, we have people that are Sooners fans that watch this. Fine, you just beat Western Carolina. Like, congratulations. But when it comes down to Alabama and Florida are playing this week, and that is probably, like, obviously it's the game of the week. Like, I'm not breaking any news by saying that, but I mean, that's going to show you something else about Alabama, and Alabama's probably still going to win by 3 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
When does Alabama play Georgia? That's what I want to know.
Oh,
Liam,
talk
you
about
look that
collision
up?
courses, eh?
I hope that
Alabama,
JT Daniels
Georgia
is back by then. Yeah, that's got to be back by then. I don't know when they play each other, but hopefully JT Daniels is not only back, but gets a game or two under his belt so he doesn't get fucking bum rushed by that.
They don't.
Front four in Georgia is unreal. No, they don't, eh?
No,
They're
they
collision
don't play
course
them.
for the SEC championship.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
That's even better, I guess, because that means that they could both roll in there undefeated and, you know, take out one of these, like, these other undefeated teams. This is going to be a one-loss team that makes the playoffs probably because, you know, like, I know I wrote Kalen's rundown, so I know what's next, but we're not signing up that Notre Dame's a playoff team at this point, right?
Yeah. No, I feel like I'm in the witness protection program right now. Like I'm just like a dark shadow.
Yo, you look like yeah. That's what yo, so you are about to give your synopsis of the Notre Dame Irish, and your entire screen just went dark.
Like,
Yeah.
no one can hear my
you need to
my
find
true
a way to
identity.
muffle your voice.
Yeah,
If you can muffle your voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Notre Dame
Notre
squeaks
Dame.
by, right? Yeah,
Hey,
Notre
a
Dame
W's
squeaked
a
by,
W.
Miami squeaked by, we got Texas
You know
A&M
what?
squeaked by, right? So what
A
of those
W to
games?
W inside your conference or
Yeah.
inside of teams that are in your ballpark. Toledo is not in your ballpark, and if Toledo's in your ballpark, then you're not a playoff team.
Yeah, true. So
So-
that they're the ones who should
weird.
have the biggest worry or the biggest wake up call then?
I think we are going to get exposed. We have a couple
Uh-oh.
tough games coming out. I think Cincinnati is going to just shit kick us, or it's going to be
I'm glad you said that because I feel the same way.
or it's going to be like 54 to 48. Like that's the only way we're winning that game. We cannot stop anybody, and unfortunately, we have one of the best safeties in football, and it doesn't make a difference because we can stop no one else.
Yeah, your front seven sucks, and you guys couldn't stop diarrhea with a cork.
What the hell did you just say? I have
Yeah.
never
I
heard
think he
that
said
ever.
you can't stop diarrhea with a cork, is what he said.
Oh my god, that's wild. Crazy.
So I'm actually really nervous about how the season's going to play out. It's kind of painful being a playoff team the last couple of years, and now seeing this. We've had really good defenses the last few years and great running games. We haven't had like the best quarterback play. Like Ian Book was a stud. I'm not going to sit there and say he wasn't.
Mhm.
But outside of him, it's been tough sledding for us on the offensive side of a quarterback. So we have a phenomenal tight end. He's probably going to be a top 15 draft pick when he's eligible. We have a stud in Kyle Hamilton, but outside of that, I don't see a lot outside of the quarterback. But he's a one and done. So
Yeah. Yeah,
there's
I mean,
Jackie
Jack Cohen's got to figure it out. Like, he seems like he's dialed in. The front seven stinks, but it was Miami was the other team that was squeaking by everyone, right?
Yeah.
And those guys are about to get licked by Michigan State. And De'Eric King with the punctuation in his name is about to get exposed.
Now, are you saying that as being a homer? Because there's going to be people that are going to be listening to you, Shane.
Well, I don't know. You could ask Alabama, who absolutely dominated them, which is fine. But when you're Miami and you roll up to Appalachian State and you win by 2 or 3 points. Like, I don't know. Give me a break, man. You guys stink. Fucking move on.
Yeah. So here you have it. Shane's already
There-
calling his win a week out here. Michigan State's going to beat
Yeah.
beat
Yeah,
Miami.
I will not be on Thursday, and I will not be on Monday to brag about the win. But I'm telling you right now that I would take Alabama with whatever spread is given, and I'm going to take Michigan State plus the 6.5 points that are being laid right now. So I'm
So
all
that would
about
drop that would drop them out of the top 25, and then would that be here for a good time, not a long time for Miami for the rest of the year? You think they're able to get back in the top 25 with two losses like that?
Even like they shouldn't be in the top 25 right now.
Yeah.
Like they have not played like one of the 25 best teams in the country. So move on.
I'm in the witness
there for
protection program. I'm just a black sheep.
Yeah, they're literally there for
So
names.
it's like-
Like Chad is 100% fully in witness protection. So yeah, why don't talk to our guest, because this guy brought the silver and black for a reason. There's a reason we're betting money line with the Raiders tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, we got some more football, like NFL questions to come back to. So maybe James, you can fill me in on this one. We were talking, obviously, we're talking college football, talking Alabama, obviously, because that's always going to be the topic. Let's talk about an Alabama quarterback who played yesterday. Two Alabama quarterbacks played head to head. Great matchup. It was really fun to watch it. Obviously, we know that Miami came out on top. So, I mean, you wrote here, is the Dolphins winning the East? I think that's a bit of a leap. I think, after with the Bills, with their loss, I don't think that's going to be something that's going to hold them back from being somebody that wins that division. But what do you think, James? What do you think between that game? Did Tua show up? Did Mac not play well enough? Or the defense is just kind of not in their – didn't have their legs yet?
Yeah, I kind of had a red zone on during the 1 o'clock games there, right? So it's kind of bouncing all over the place. But I got a chance to kind of look at that game. I think Miami played well. Winning the East, no. I think that belongs to the Bills, no questions asked. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, Steelers defense played well. Special teams came up for those guys. But at the end of the day, the Bills will figure it out. Like, that's – I don't think – even though I think Miami and New England are both great teams, subpar, like above 500, if that at best, I think, personally. My question now is, like the Gaskin, right? Like I felt Gaskin played well coming out of the pass, but the run game I feel like just wasn't really there for him. Like personally, like like I said, I was kind of bouncing all over the map in the block games.
No one respects Tua, so they're going to stack the box. It's going to be tough for anybody to run there.
And that's it, right? Like, and I feel like Gaskin coming out as like more of a receiver out the back, he did well, but they got to figure out that run game, because if they continue to stack the box on Tua, like what are they going to do all season? It's going to be a long season.
Well, I mean, Gaskin ended up actually having some really good numbers rushing the ball, but he didn't do what he did last year with any type of receiving threat. He was no leak job at all. And the other running backs that were there did shit in any type of spelling. So now the New England defense, I feel, is what kind of let them down, because Mac almost puts up 300 yards, right? Against a very good Miami secondary, right? So I'm not putting this loss on Mac by any means. I think Mac, if he can do that against Miami's defense, I mean, Mac's going to have a really good good season anyway, rookie season. Obviously, good career. That's a big jump yet, but
what the Dolphins defense bring up like 4 fumbles or something like that? Like it was,
it's just unfortunate for him, right?
But like Miami's defense played well, but you got to hold that ball.
Yeah. Exactly. And Engler actually showed up. I didn't think that guy, I mean, I thought he was flash in the pan. I really thought that he was going to be the Engler that we had seen from Philadelphia years. Ended up actually playing a little bit more like his Oakland days. Or Oakland year, I should say.
He
anyway.
played well.
Yeah. Ended up having a touchdown, almost 80 yards, right? So good game for them. Shane, did you watch that game? You checked it out?
Yeah, I checked it out a little bit. And I mean, I really felt like New England had the opportunity to win the game.
Mm-hmm.
They gave it away at the end with that fumble. And look, I mean, I said what I said about Damian Harris, and I think that anybody that watched the game probably saw what I said, which was there's no running back controversy in New England. It's Damian Harris's backfield. James White might come in for the occasional throw, and this Stevenson guy, for any carries he thought he was going to get, he already fumbled them away. So I believe in still what New England's doing. I would still double down on the bet that I made that New England is probably the best value to win that division. But when it comes down to it, like, I do agree with James. I still think it's the Bills division. The Bills are going to win it. And there's just really nothing to be said about it.
Mm-hmm.
Either the Patriots or the Dolphins are going to be one of the wild card teams. And if we're believing what week 1 says to us, it should be the Dolphins. And that means the Patriots are missing the playoffs again.
Yeah, I think the Patriots are on the right track with Mac Jones and stuff like that.
He made some pretty cool plays. Yeah,
I think he's a great quarterback. They obviously cut Newton and starting him for a reason. They obviously seen something.
That's because Newton doesn't know the difference between left and right.
Keep forgetting you're there. You just block the screen.
Yeah, I'm a witness protection, so Cam doesn't get mad at me when he came out. When he didn't know what a fucking middle linebacker was.
Yeah, I know. Cam came out and talked about the distraction, but at the end of the day, like Belichick's pretty good at keeping dudes in check. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So if he really wanted Cam on that team, Cam would be on that team.
So doing the right things, doing some fun things, young quarterback, team on the right trajectory. I'm going to bring up another team here that I feel is on the right trajectory. Tell me if it's a bigger loss or a bigger win. Bengals and the Vikings. Bigger loss for the Vikings or a bigger win for the Bengals?
Bigger loss.
Is it?
100%. Yeah, 100%.
See, that's rather surprising. I really do think that the Bengals, this is a team that they're going against a team that's very strong in the Vikings offensively. And defensively, they can have some question marks, but they're built to beat a team that can pass. And, I mean, his boy showed up. His wide receiver got a touchdown, right, from Burrow. So, I mean, that was really, really fun to watch. I really do think the Bengals are going to be stifled, unfortunately, because they're in an incredibly tough division, too. They're just always going to be fourth brother. Or not always, but they're going to be for the next little while anyway there. But I think that's a big, big win for them because they're not going to have very many within their division, unfortunately.
No.
But I think it's a bigger loss to the Vikings because given the state of their division, like they could be one game up.
Well, but see, that's just it. It's interconference, so it's not as big a loss either, right? Especially with that 17th game being added, that means they're probably going to get an extra AFC game then, probably.
No, I disagree, man. I think that the Vikings had a chance to show that they were the team to oversee the Packers, and right now they couldn't even beat the stifling fucking Bengals, and there's just no way. Like, there's no way that if you're a Green Bay Packer, you went back in the locker room, you're like, oh shit, the Vikings are gonna catch us this year.
Yeah,
like, there's just no way.
Yeah, like I like Burrows. I like what they're doing down in Cincinnati. Like, you know, that's a very tough division. Like they're not halfway there yet, but I like Burrows, and I think he could be something special down the road. But yeah, for like Minnesota has an extremely tough schedule, and to drop this one week 1, like they might end up below 500 at this point.
Yeah,
like that was a must-win game week 1. It was Cincinnati. It was one of the easiest games they had. One of the easier, games. Like no, there's no easy games in football, but that was one of the easier games they had this season. I think they got like the 4th or 5th hardest schedule in the league this year.
Yeah. If you were penciling in wins, like that was, if you're
that was a win.
Minnesota fan, like that's a win.
Yeah.
And you fucked that up. Like, you know, like for Tennessee, like Tennessee lost Arizona. That's an okay loss because the Colts lost as well. You know, like it's not like Houston's going to win your division, right? Like you're not afraid of that, even though it's a 1-game lead. But if you're Minnesota,
like you're a wild team car at best.
Yeah, you needed that game badly, regardless of what conference it's in, and you needed that win in the right column, and you fucked it up.
Well, okay. Teams that needed a win in the right column. I picked them in one of my pick'ems yesterday for the weekend, and they came through. The Chargers, man, and I think that mainly was because
I thought you were going to say Jacksonville. Sorry,
fuck you. Unfortunately, at the loss of Ryan Fitzpatrick, which I think might have been the reason why the Chargers were able to win that game. And that's going to be significant, right? Fitzmagic is out. Now, Heineke came in and played okay against, I think, a pretty decent Chargers team with Derwin James is a completely different defense, right? Not the same team as last year.
I'm going to take what you just said, Kalen. I'm going to apply it to the Chargers. I think this win for the Chargers was absolutely massive. They lost all those games last year.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think those are the games, the grinding games, the low-scoring games. Those are the games that define a young quarterback and how you play. And he did play good in the second to end part of that game. And I think it was a bigger win for the Chargers than it was a loss for the team like Washington.
Yeah. And biggest win for them in that game, only 2 sacks.
Yeah.
Right? Like only 1 sack was given up to Montez Sweat. You didn't have any real pressure coming in from Chase Young. That's fantastic for that offensive line in LA because they're not known to be strong, right? So for them to be able to put up against a stout front seven that we've talked about quite a few times that they've got over in Washington, that's fantastic for them. A kid that doesn't take time with the ball. I mean, Herbert gets the ball out. Thank God he helps his offensive line. But for over 300 yards he put up on Washington yesterday. Crazy.
Yeah.
Not enough touchdowns though. Those hurt me. I need more touchdowns from him.
Yeah, I know. He wasn't able to put it in the end zone, unfortunately. Shane, you wrote here Colts dropped kick. You want to fill me in on that one because I might have turned away from the game at that point.
I have no idea what you just said. Your phone cut out.
Oh, I said the Colts dropped kick. You mentioned that in the rundown. You want to fill me in on that one?
I think we're losing him.
Oh, we might be losing him. Well, that's okay. We can.
Yo, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Look at those eyes. Look at those eyes. It's not his Wi-Fi signal. Let's slow him down.
yeah, that's me. Yeah.
You're talking.
Yeah, I don't know. The Colts lost. If that's what you're asking.
No, that's okay. I don't know if
Let's
they actually
move
had
on.
a drop
Let's
kick,
move on.
if they did a pooch punt or something like that. Well, we got the last 5 minutes here we got before we go into the Raiders and the Ravens game, right? So we might as well spend some more time on that. We touched base on it a little bit earlier. Kickoff weekend. Who are we watching for? Since we didn't see any starters in the preseason, James, who do I keep my eye on? Is Henry Ruggs going to be the real deal this year? Is he going to get over 1,000 yards, or is he just going to be a flash in the pan, behind the line kind of player? You know what I mean?
I think Henry Ruggs is going to have a great season. I think 1,000 yards may be pushing it. Obviously it's very clear Waller is our guy. Henry has the speed, which has to, you have to respect that speed, right? So you're going to get that safety making his decision. What are you going to do as a safety, right? Mm-hmm. So if he can draw those safeties, I think for me personally, I think a big year maybe come out of Bryan Edwards, who's drafted 3rd round last year, battled injuries. I think he only played maybe 3-4 games for us last year. He's a big body. Derek Carr and Devontae Adams there, in college. So that's what Carr referred to him as a Devontae Adams. And Gruden came out and called him basically T.O. without the attitude. So those are some pretty big comparisons for a year 2 guy with maybe, like I said, like 4 or 5 games under his belt. But you have to respect Waller, so he's going to get that a little bit of help, and then you got to respect the speed. So at the end of the day, it's prime for Edwards to come out as a number 2 receiver and just catch the ball, basically. He's a big body. So I'm excited for that. If you're talking offensive wide, I'm also interested to see what Drake does. A little worried about our offensive line, especially with Incognito going down there. He was basically like one of 2 guys returning, and now he's gone. So a lot of young guys on that offensive line. They could do great or not. Yeah. So that's huge for our run game, and Gruden loves to pound that ball. So if we can't run the ball, we're in trouble.
Well, I know you mentioned Edwards. Edwards had an amazing catch in preseason, in just the training camp or something like that. I know that it kind of took was like a week of highlight there for him for a bit. So I know he's going to have to live up to that coming into the regular season for sure. Yep. One player that I want to focus, like last year, I'm a big defensive watcher. Jonathan Abram, guy plays very hard. He also. Though. Well, exactly. That's what I'm going to say. Very, very reckless. Now he's got a year right under his belt now.
It's his 2nd year. His first year he got hurt week 1. Was out the rest of the year. Last year played with Gus Bradley. Though Gus Bradley's kind of got a different kind of scheme. So I think Abram and bringing in Morig, I don't know if I pronounced that right. I think Abram's going to be more of a natural position. I don't think he's playing free safety this year, right? So he can kind of do his thing that he's known to do. That defense is going to be interesting. It's basically all reworked.
Well, KJ Wright too. Yeah, major signing for you guys last minute, right?
Yeah, we brought in Perryman too, like 2 weeks ago. It's a brand new defense. Like, what are we? I don't know. I want to say we're a better defense now than last year, but I can't physically say that until they get on the field and show it. But yeah, it's and in Nugaku, our defensive line is completely overhauled as well. Like, it's a whole new defense. And I just found like an hour ago we just signed Clinton Dix. Like,
Oh, is that where he landed? I wondered where somebody
they
was going to
just
sign
signed
that
him
guy. It
like
was
an
kind of a
hour
surprising
ago.
cut for me.
Like, yeah, I have no idea. I have no idea where our defense is going to land. At the end of the day, we can't be any worse than last year.
Yeah,
That's a bonus.
there you go.
You know, like we don't. You know, I think we have an explosive offense. We were top 10 last year. Just give us some mediocre defense, and I think we'll do some great things.
All right. So, I mean, if you were to ask me, what should my team be worried about walking into a game, 9 times out of 10, I'm only going to give you maybe one thing. So I'm not going to try and stretch too many out of you. But James, if you're looking at the Ravens, they're a very weak offense. I think they just lost Nick Boyle again. They put him on IR, so that's another tight end down for another 3 weeks. So basically, they've got a hobbled Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown, right? And a undrafted running back. So what does scare you about the Ravens this week, if anything?
The defense. Even with their running backs and stuff like that, like I think Lamar's a great quarterback. He's kind of that if number one's not there, he runs.
I wondered if he was going to be able to bite his tongue over there.
Yeah, he's that. No, but like I said, like he's not an accurate thrower in my opinion. So he's that if the wide receiver number one or the plays like going to this specific guy, if he's not there, he just tucks and runs.
Yeah.
So not overly worried about their offense. For me, I think the defense is their bread and butter. So for me going into this game, I'm worried about their defense. I'm worried about their front four against our new guys coming in on our O-line that we reworked. That's my worry is their defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, my worry is that you think Lamar Jackson's a great quarterback. Clearly, if the biggest concern on somebody is their arm, they're not a great quarterback.
He can't throw.
Yeah.
It's his legs.
No,
it's his legs.
The dude, he's an athlete. He can play. I told you, I think Brett Hundley taking snaps and handing the ball to him gives him the best chance to win. He's not a great quarterback. They do not have the weapons that they need on offense to even take down the Raiders, who I would say like the Raiders right now are a medium team in the AFC that could get hot, I guess, right?
Yeah.
I think that this is probably a year for the Raiders to make the playoffs.
We have to.
I mean, if they don't make the playoffs, like I don't think Gruden's gone, but Mayock might be. And
yeah, Mag's in the sea. Yeah.
So this is probably a big year for Derek Carr, who I'd say is gonna be okay. I mean, he's gonna be a game manager the way they need him to. If Jacobs and Drake can manage the backfield the way that they're supposed to, and their defense can even be top 25 instead of top 32, I think that they have a chance, man.
I think our season is heavily relied on our defense because I believe in our offense. They can put the numbers on the board. But last year, if we didn't score over 30 points, we weren't winning. You know?
Yeah.
I think we were giving up 27 points a game last year.
I'm curious what Henry Hill thinks in the darkness over there.
Told you, witness protection. I think it's simple. The Raiders have to stop people on defense.
Catch-a-bit egg noodles over there is wondering what to say next.
No, I just said the Raiders going to stop people. It's that simple. You're in a division with the Kansas City Chiefs, so scoring actually is very important. Same with the Chargers. So the offense is set up to do good things. I do believe that. Having the speed, I think Derek Carr's finally we're going to see a better version of him. Now he's in this house for a couple of years. He's got his weapons. But the defense has to stop people. It's that simple. Defense does win championships. It fucking pains me to say that. I'm a quarterback guy. I'm an offensive guy. But if you don't stop people, you're not going to win. Mm-hmm. How the Buccaneers won the Super Bowl last year was they stopped the Chiefs. It was that simple.
Yeah.
How the Patriots beat the Rams back in the day, they stopped the Rams. So if the Raiders can't stop those teams, they're just not going to win.
Yeah, I'm excited for our linebackers. Like we said, KJ Wright, and they brought in Perryman. I think those guys, like those are some vets. You know what I mean? And we got a lot of young guys, to back those guys up now who were our starters 3 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
So
the game changers that I'm thinking to look for, we were talking about like the Ravens, who I would be scared of. Calais Campbell, I think that the Ravens play through him. Like how dominant he can be, how much he can push a center or a guard back. If he's getting some depth there, That's where I think you're going to see some bad play by Oakland. And Patrick Queen, too. I think Patrick Queen took a major step last year in the second half of the season. And having him being able to be that cover linebacker who can also really come downhill and stop the run, those two players specifically are going to really have to step up, especially with a player like Peters going down. Their secondary got much weaker.
Leah, Kayla, I'm going to ask you to come out of the Baltimore locker room and get off your knees for a second and just understand that they aren't the same team that you think they were last year. Patrick Queen, yes, is a talented player. Calais Campbell is only a year older. They lost Marcus Peters, which is a huge part of their defense. Even if Marcus Peters was playing, I'm looking at just the fact that there's fans in Las Vegas at a football game. Give me the Raiders, man, all day, every day.
Well, with that, I mean, we've only got a few minutes here before the game. We mentioned before, nobody wants to see our ugly mugs during game time. So give us the Raiders.
Yeah.
Give us the Ravens, right? I think it's time to sign off there. I don't know, Shane, if you got anything to say.
Yo, final thoughts is I told you guys on Thursday that by the time we came on here next, the Toronto Blue Jays would be in a playoff spot. And if you don't know, now you know. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Blue Jays are 200 runs on the weekend, and they are ready to roll.
I think they scored more runs yesterday than, what was it, like 16 teams or 17 teams in the NFL?
Yeah. The Blue Jays would have beaten the Titans.
Yeah, exactly. They were one of the teams. Yeah, thanks, Shane. Thanks for just putting that in there a little bit more, huh? Chad, you got anything for final thoughts?
You're welcome.
Nah, man, I just want my hydro to come back on. I'm just fucking sitting in darkness over here. And now I've lost daylight.
Yeah, yo.
Had a wicked storm come through
So
here.
we just started a GoFundMe page so we can get Chad's hydro turned back on. So let's make sure
we're gonna get OnlyFans for Chad.
A few more sponsors.
And we'll give the final thought to our guest, James. You got anything to say coming into this game, man? It's yours. Take it away, brother.
Yeah, like it's Raider Nation. You know what I mean? In week one, fans are there. This is it. I'm just happy football's back. Yeah. I don't know what else to say, man. Like, fuck, football's here. Let's do this.
Right.
Yeah, let's go.
So excited we don't even have the words for it, right?
Alliance fucking Stadium, let's go. Fucking packed. Monday Night Football.
See that bar bumping in the end zone.
When you're going to order your food, make sure to go to Joe Cool's Toboggan, get your Under the Kitchen Sink pizza, subscribe to our Twitch, our YouTube, look at our Facebook. We got lots of promos coming up here, guys. It's been an absolute blast, fellas. Shane, enjoy your vacation weekend. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Stay safe.
Yeah, that doesn't say a lot. Cheers, boys.